It's summertime, the heat wave is rolling in, and look at this. This is bare soil in my garden. Yeah, that's reading in the 90s in my soil temp, and that is terrible for my plants right now. I'm a little ashamed to admit it. Normally I don't let this happen, because when the sun cooks your soil like this, it actually creates a lot of problems. Not only does it slow down or stop bioactivity in the soil when it gets this warm, the top layer of the soil here really gets like a crust on it that becomes hydrophobic, and it's really hard to, at that point, water your plants and get the moisture down to the root zone. So what do you do about this? How do you prevent it? Well, if you've watched my channel before, you know the answer is mulch. Good, thick mulch. I don't have mulch on these beds yet because I was letting the soil warm up early season, and then life got ahead of me. I got working on this project to expand my garden, and I kind of failed at getting mulch on my plants as early as I should have. So now they're suffering, admittedly. The good news is I've got my mulch here, and I'm going to show you real quick why it's so important. It's not just about looks. It's not just about weed prevention. Yes, you get benefits there too, but really the most important reason for mulch is climate control. It is your single best defense against fluctuating temperatures, moisture loss, and if you're not doing it, you should start like today. Go to your garden center, get some mulch, and come back and take care of your gardens. But when you drop a heavy layer of organic insulation on your soil, it does so much to create a thriving environment for microbes that are necessary for getting nutrients into your plants, for earthworms that are necessary for processing your soil and making it healthier, and also for water retention, like I mentioned, right? So I think it's really important that before we jump into exactly like what mulch to use and how much to use, you got to do a little prep of your beds. So in my case, they've been out here. They are not too bad because I've been doing a really good job with watering, because I've had to, because it's been so hot. The moisture is just evaporating like crazy, right? But in this case, I have a few weeds that are starting to grow. So first step you should always do when preparing your beds before mulch, pull out all of these weeds. Take the time to do it. Don't think you can just cover them up and smother them. They will grow through. Then you're going to be having a harder time getting to them because they're under the mulch. Just spend the time, pull all the weeds out, and be happy. I'm leaving in the baby flowers because I planted some marigolds and nasturtiums and other things in these beds, so I'll have to mulch around those, not a big deal. The other thing you're probably going to want to do is just make sure if you have built up a crust on top of that soil because it's been so hot and dry, go ahead and break that up. Take a little hand cultivator or something, rake it out, a little shovel, anything, just to make sure that you have a kind of porous and open top layer, and then hit it with a bunch of water. You're gonna wanna water this soil pretty good before you put the mulch down so that there's moisture there for the mulch to help retain. So what do you use for mulch? It really is kind of up to you. The goal is to keep your soil covered, ideally with something that is organic, chemical-free, dye-free, and something that will break down over time. It'll also hold moisture in, and ideally it's not too expensive. I'm using, for the second year in a row, kind of a shredded cedar wood product. It is not like wood chips. It is much finer. It's almost like hair in some ways. Some of the bags I have are actually called gorilla hair, but it's just shredded cedar. I like this because it actually creates kind of a nice blanket. It locks in a little bit better. And I find that it's not as hard on my hands as things like straw or wood chips. If I have to dig through it, it's a little bit softer. A lot of people do use straw or hay as a mulch. That is totally fine. It's actually really good. Just make sure if you do use that, you know where it's sourced from, because some farmers will use certain herbicides on their hay crop that you definitely do not want leaching into your soil, because you could destroy your whole garden. I've seen terrible, terrible stories of people online who have had this happen, and it's really sad. So if you use something that is like a grass or sourced, and really anything, even if you use wood chips, make sure you have some idea. Look on the bag. Sometimes it'll say, if you're buying straw from a local farmer or something, just find out, did they treat their crops with anything? You'll thank yourself later. Other people use things like plastic. I don't prefer plastic mulch because to me that makes the soil too hot. Rubber mulch as well. I think that's better used for like play areas or open garden beds that are purely ornamental or decorative. It's not worth using rubber mulch in your vegetable garden. But use what you can, right? There's also a concept of living mulch. You can kind of grow an underlayer of short growing green plants, ideally things that are nitrogen fixers and stuff to kind of replenish the soil, but you're wanting to keep the soil covered. That's the goal. It keeps the heat off of the soil. It keeps your temps down. It keeps your bioactivity up, and it makes for a better time for your plants. How much mulch should you use? 2 to 3 inches is ideal, right? You want a layer that's pretty decent. That helps lock in that moisture, and it'll make sure that you don't have to water as often either, which is super great right now because we're in a pretty bad drought here in Colorado. Being able to hold that moisture in the soil longer will prevent me from having to run my irrigation as often. And again, it just keeps that bioactivity happening. Water is what makes everything happen in the root zone between the microbes and your plant's roots and the fungi. Water is necessary in all those processes. So keep that soil moist with your mulch. One other quick tip, crucial mistake a lot of people make, look and see here, I'm not putting the mulch all the way up against the stem of the plants. You don't want your mulch to actually touch the stem because it can hold moisture there and cause issues with rot. I've killed plants that way, full disclosure, like when I was newer to mulching and gardening in general. I put the mulch right up against the plants, and next thing I knew, the stem started tilting and wilting, and it was a bad time. I lost some plants, right? So leave an inch of breathing room, maybe an inch or 2 inches at most. You don't have to have a big gap there, right? Because that could defeat the purpose of having mulch. But leave enough so that you're not putting anything directly in contact with your plant's stem. So really just lay it all out, right? I use my hands to do it. It's easier for me when I already have plants in place. If I was just doing a fresh bed that didn't have plants in place, I would just dump the bags out and spread them with a rake. Spread it around, get it good and even, and then hit it with the hose again. You're gonna wanna give it a good soak after you put it down. That'll help kind of lock it into place, glue it together a little bit, and also start to build that moisture retention layer that you're really gonna benefit from. And then as your season goes on, some of this mulch product is going to break down. It's going to start adding more and more organic matter into your soil. And over time, you get that nice humusy compost layer that everybody looks for in their garden. So mulch is a win-win-win, right? It keeps your temperatures down, it keeps your moisture in, it keeps your biome active, and hell, it looks good too. So don't complain about that. So what are you using to mulch your beds this year? Did you already do it? If you haven't already, seriously spend your weekend doing that. It's super important. Let me know in the comments below. And also if you want to know more about my drip irrigation system, I'm debating whether I should make a updated video on how I built this. If you want me to do that, leave a message below and I'll get to work. Remember, plants help us grow.